Hello and welcome back to CEO.CA's coverage from Beaver Creek. I'm joined today by John Bay, CEO and Director of Standard Uranium, fresh off the plane from London, from the World Nuclear Symposium, and straight to Beaver Creek. How's the last couple of weeks been for you?
Well, I'm a little tired, to tell you the truth, but overall, it's been fantastic. The demand for uranium right now and nuclear energy globally is really exciting to see. The World Nuclear Symposium was really bullish. I think people across the board were really looking at the supply-demand model, and the demand is off the charts for the next 10, 20, 30 years. And the supply is just not there yet. And we need to do a lot of work on the exploration side to get us there.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, lots to talk about today, but maybe if we start with just a quick overview, can you give us the summary of Standard Uranium? What should any prospective investor know about the company?
Sure, happy to do that. So we are a Canadian junior uranium exploration company. We are 100% focused in Saskatchewan and the Athabasca Basin. We started this company back in 2018, and since then we've grown it to 11 projects. We've adjusted our model. We are now a project generator as well as an exploration company. So last year we signed 3 JV deals on 3 of our projects, and we'll talk a bit about each of those. And we're now in the process of lining up 2 or 3 more projects to JV in 2025.
Okay, fantastic. Well, yeah, within that portfolio of companies, of projects,
Yeah.
you said you have 3 under JV. Can you walk us through maybe some of the kind of key overview of each of those 3 and some of the work that's been done on them?
Sure. So the first project that we got across the board was with a group called ATCO Energy. They are out of Vancouver, and that's on our Atlantic project, which is just north of ISO's Hurricane project in the eastern side of the Athabasca Basin. So that was the first ever drill program on that project, and it came back on time, under budget, and hit exactly what we were looking for: uranium across all our drill holes, as well as finding the right structures. So it was a nice first pass, and we're planning to line up and go back and do that one with the second pass.
Okay, excellent. And then you said Davidson flagship Sundog
Yes.
also being explored, and then remind me the third project.
Yeah. So after we did the Atlantic, we moved over to Canary, which is also
Yes.
on the eastern side of the Athabasca Basin, and that's with our partners Mamba Exploration of Australia. That once again was the first ever drill program. Once again, we hit all our targets. Didn't make a major discovery, but we got some nice uranium sniffs in all our holes, and it looks to be a project worth following up on as well. So we're looking forward to going back to Canary with Mamba. And then the third project, our Sundog, which we partnered with Arrow Energy.
Yeah.
That's near Uranium City in the far north of the Athabasca Basin. We just wrapped that up this week and put out a news release early this week. That one was, 8 drill holes, hitting uranium in 7 of those holes, and also hitting structure, graphitic shear zones. And we're looking for basement hosted type discoveries in that region. So it's great to get back to the Uranium City region and have a drill program there with our partners at Arrow Energy. And we look forward to advancing into year 2 with all 3 of those companies.
Thanks a lot for that overview, John. Maybe we can focus a little on the Davidson River, the flagship project. What are you seeing there? What's the potential? What work's being done?
Yeah, so we started the company around Davidson River back in 2018. We've been there. We've done about 4 or 5 exploration programs, 3 drill programs. What we're looking for is the same type of discovery that NextGen had with their Arrow deposit. So we're basically about 30 kilometers to the west, sitting on the Patterson Lake Conductor, which runs right through. It goes from NextGen's Arrow to Fission's Triple R to our Davidson River package. And just to the north of us is F3's JR zone. So it's a beautiful land package. It's about, we've got 12 kilometers of strike length there. And we're seeing uranium in all our drill holes. And what's great is that we're looking for those really nice structured graphitic shear zones as well, looking for that basement hosted stuff. So for us, we want to get back there again and drill it again this summer. We're going to do some more geophysics work on it, maybe this fall, maybe an AT survey on it, and then be ready to drill it again in 2025. That's our flagship. It's a massive project. We're currently in discussions with some pretty major companies about potentially coming in and JVing half of that project, but we'll see how that plays out.
Okay, excellent. Well, sounds like there's a lot in store at Standard Uranium. Could you walk us through maybe, drill plans for next year? What exploration work is going to be done?
Yeah. So first of all, the 3 projects I talked about, the JV ones already, that's our Canary, Atlantic, and our Sundog. We want to move those into year 2. And then we're lining up more of our projects to have year 1 commitments. So we're looking for partners right now. We're in discussions on 3 of our projects. So look, we've got our Corvo and our Rocus, which are early stage. We staked those about a year and a half ago. We've done basic geo work on it. We're going to do some geophysics and get those drill ready. So our business model is we stake a project, we do some basic geological work, we do some geophysics, we get them drill ready, and then we sign contracts with our vendors. We get all the permits in place to drill, and we sign First Nations agreements. and then it's a turnkey operate, and we operate the project. So for new companies coming in wanting to look at JV projects, we're an excellent turnkey operation.
Okay, fantastic. And I guess besides, exploration updates, are there any other catalysts of the company coming up that maybe investors should be aware of?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, first of all, watch for new deals getting done by our company. We're going to be trying to advance some of our projects with new partners. Watch for signing of those those first JVs going into year 2. Look for potential opportunities of new projects coming into our portfolio. We're constantly looking in the basin for land that opens up to stake new land. And of course, Davidson River is our flagship. As soon as we announce something exciting there, the market will find out.
Okay, excellent. So I want to take maybe a little bit of a step back here, and talk about the uranium markets more broadly. So, we last spoke at PDAC, I believe, back in March. We were pushing $100 spot uranium at that point. Prices have come down slightly since then, but in the context of the last decade, still at very high levels. You were just at the World Nuclear Symposium in London. Can you give us a sense of what's sentiment like at the moment? We're seeing major producers, Kazatomprom, revising down production estimates. Global supply and demand seems like there's a bit of a mismatch there. What's your read, and maybe why is now an interesting time for uranium?
Well, it's interesting because we're seeing two different stories playing at the same time. So as you mentioned, going back in time, uranium price has moved up from $20 a few years ago all the way up to $110. Actually, this time last year, we were sitting around $55 to $60. And from September up to January, it went up to about $105. That's a spot price I'm talking about. And since January, it's moved from 105 down to about 80. So it's come down a fair bit. And that's really caused a lot of pain in the equities. So we're seeing a big sell-off from January to now. We're seeing a real exodus of the retail investor. So the two different stories we're seeing is the retail investor have gotten beaten up on their equity side, and they're pretty angry, sad, disappointed in how uranium's played out. But then when you go to the World Nuclear Symposium and you talk to the hedge funds, you talk to the institutional people who are buying for the big funds there, they're all extremely bullish. People who are looking longer term can see where the uranium demand is going to be. That's the supply demand model globally is just incredible. We're seeing new nuclear builds across the globe. We're seeing small modular reactors coming online. We're starting to see nuclear wanting to be developed in the US, in Canada, all across Europe, into Asia. China has just continued to build more and more. They announced a few years ago they were going to build out 10 nuclear reactors every year for the next 15 years. People kind of questioned it and laughed about it. They've done it. They've done 30 reactors in the last 3 years, and they're projecting to continue on that path. So the demand for uranium and nuclear is just growing astronomically, and the supply is not there yet to meet it. So we need more exploration. We need more discoveries. We need more money going into the ground. We need more money coming into junior exploration companies.
Great. And I guess, on that note, in terms of the supply, why the Athabasca Basin? What's the significance there, and why has Standard Uranium focused in on that area?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, when you look at globally, politically, what's going on around the world, we just saw in Niger, companies like Global Atomic and Govia get smacked really hard as there was a change in government, a coup overthrowing the government. So that was really disastrous for a lot of shareholders in that space. So people are looking at geopolitical risk. And the U.S. and Canada is the place, and Australia as well. It's a great opportunity to be in those regions. And Namibia as well, I'll say, is pretty good. But the Athabasca Basin, not only is it strong geopolitically, it's got a great workforce. It's got good First Nations groups to work with. It's got, on top of that, the best, highest grade uranium deposits on Earth. By ratios of like 100 to 1. So when you make a high grade discovery in the Athabasca Basin in Saskatchewan, you're finding stuff that is world class.
Fantastic. Well, John, just to wrap up today, is there anything that maybe we haven't talked about that you think investors should be keeping in mind when they're looking at Standard Uranium?
Yeah, I think it's important for investors to really understand how they want to run their portfolio. It's great to have some blue chip companies. If they really want to focus on the uranium and nuclear side, you've got blue chips like a Cameco, who are phenomenal. Then you've got the near-term producers, the Denisons, the guys like NextGen. Maybe Fission just announced a deal with Paladin this week. And then you've got your exploration group. So those exploration companies, those are your highest risk, highest reward. So those are the ones that can have your biggest, return on investment if they make a discovery. So sprinkle a few of those in your portfolio. Look for companies that have got projects going, companies who are actually doing good work programs. They've got drill permits. They've got programs that are happening. And look for companies like ours, where we've got JV partners funding those along, so we can have multiple drill programs going throughout the year. So a great time to get to know some of these exploration companies whose shares have been beaten up. It's a great entry point for retail investors and a great time to get back into the uranium space.
Fantastic. Well, exciting times in the uranium market and lots of upcoming catalysts for Standard Uranium. John, thanks a lot for joining us today.
You're welcome. Great to be here again.
Pleasure.